Hello, welcome back to Veritas and Vision. I'm Rachel Kenney. I'm your host, and I'm super grateful that you're here today. Guys, this is episode 10. This is episode 10. That's crazy. This is a huge milestone for me. Thank you for being here. We're almost at 300 subscribers, and I think we'll get there, after this episode, which is super cool. Um, and I started this with like nothing. And YouTube is a little harder to get started, but still like there's, two, three, 300. Some of them had higher like views, but like you guys are watching this every week and I'm pumped to keep this going and I'm excited to grow this more. I'm going to start all of my episodes now talking about things I'm drinking or wearing because people have questions a lot of the time. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to start it out. A lot of the things that I am wearing or drinking, etc. I'll tell you, or you can find it throughout some of the items or like companies that I work with throughout my stand store. I link that in the description of every single video at the top. So you can go there and see all the things that I use and then like links or products that I can provide for you guys as well. First things first, like last week, sparkling. This is Zevia. This is like a sparkling soda in a wine glass. This is the cran raspberry flavor. 10 out of 10 recommend. It's probably my favorite one. Second thing I'm drinking is coffee, protein coffee. As always, the protein I use is linked in the supplements that I use or that you can shop in my stand store. This is level 1 that I use, and this flavor is the maple waffle butter flavor that I've been putting in my coffee and mixing it, and it makes it like a latte. It is the best thing of all time. Seriously, and it helps you front load your protein in the morning. I do like a quarter of a scoop in each coffee. I usually have 2 coffees, so I have a half a scoop, right? And then I use a milk frother to mix it up, and it mixes it up really great, and it's incredible. So that's what I have in here. And then I add chocolate with cream on top because why wouldn't you do that? Oh my God, it's so good. Hoodie that I'm wearing, half zip up, was recently also dropped by the same company that I get my supplements from. Again, you can find that in the stand store under the supplements that I purchased in there. This is so nice. It's an oversized. I'm wearing a size small. For those of you wondering, for the girls watching, I'm 5'2" and like 145 to 48 pounds. And this is like how it fits. It's fitting very oversized. And I love it. So, and then the cute bow in my hair I got from Target. I also just bought a bunch of silky bows on Amazon, so you can find them on there too. So yeah, that's where you can find all that stuff. That's what I'm wearing today. People message me like, "Where you get that shirt? What are you wearing?" And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start this big thing and start at the beginning of my videos and just tell people what I'm doing, drinking, whatever. And then you guys can either listen to this or fast forward this and get it going. Episode 10. Episode 10 I wanted to make like bigger. Last week, if you listen to my Thanksgiving, my little snippet of like Thanksgiving and the history of Thanksgiving, I talked about in there that I was going to go over recovery. And I think I'm going to save that for next week or the following week. Especially because I just got this new ring that I'm wearing. It's not the Aura ring, it's actually Kalo. And it tracks my recovery. It tracks my cycle, like as a female, like it tracks my sleep. It tracks my stress. It does track workouts if I wear it. I don't wear it to do jujitsu, and I don't really care about the workout data. If I'm doing aerobic, I actually do care because I want to see my heart rate and where it's getting to. So I'm excited about that. But like aside from that, I mostly got it for like it tracking my cycle as a female and then for my sleep. And I really like it so far, but I just got it like the other day and I don't want to talk about it really until next week. So I'm going to do the recovery next week. And this week, I was like, it's episode 10. I have been posting a lot differently on my Instagram and I'm going to continue that with more like motivational posts or sharing my life a little bit too because I'm ready. And that's why I started this podcast to begin with, to share my life and share my story, give insight and also help others. Like this was the whole point. And yes, recovery and my insight with nutrition and my academic background in that. And that's how I want to help people, but I also want to help people a lot in terms of like a life aspect of things because I've been through a lot, as you guys know, and I have a lot to share. So today I actually shared a reel about, it was like one of those trends going around that's like in your 20s, this, and this, and then you should do it or whatever. And I talked about, in my 20s, like the abuse almost broke me and that I would want to move halfway across the country. And it's important that you do move because moving really, it reset my whole life and it saved me. And I am who I am today. I've become this person the last 8 years because of that. I'm about 8 years into moving and changing my life, which is just insane to me, you know? And I would say the first, who fuck, 4 to 5 years were really hard finding myself. I had a lot of things to work through, a lot of kinks in my trauma. And I don't want to say, I don't even know if that's the right word to say, kinks in my trauma. Ways I responded and ways I acted due to a lot of the things I've been through. So it was a lot of like working through these things, my triggers, understanding why I respond to things in certain ways. And there were a lot of things, I'll be honest with you guys, a lot of ways I responded. Like I did not like that about myself. I didn't like that about myself. So these are the things I've had to work through. And I would say the last 3 years, I really found who I am. I've really made adjustments in my life and I've really chosen me. And, you know, this last year and a half, I've been completely on my own. And it's been the best, hardest and best thing that it was like the final piece to me being like, no, this is who I am. So I'm ready to share a little more about that. So I think I want to talk today a little bit about like abuse and what that looks like for people. And I really have no clue. Like when I start these half the time, I'm like, this is the topic I'm going to go over. And I don't know what the hell that's going to look like. But that's who I am. I'm really good at talking. I'm really good at navigating. I'm really good at expressing myself. So I don't know. I don't have like sometimes if it's like more in depth, like historical stuff or I'm going over research, yes, I'm going to have notes up. But I still wing it. I still wing this to a lot of fuck, man. Like whatever. Like, you know, that's sometimes the best things come from you just having no script and just explaining it and just rocking with it. So I obviously talked, if you refer back to episode 3 or 4, I talked about, hold on. Let me actually tell you what episode that was. And we'll bring it up and do some research here. Episode 3, my journey through sports and self. You can refer back to that video and watch that a little bit. That talks about like how sports kind of led me throughout my whole life and saved me from a lot of aspects of the abuse that I went through. But I went a little bit in depth about like my dad and my gymnastics and stuff like that growing up. But I didn't talk too much about the abusive cycle that I continued to go through throughout I moved when I was 26. So you know, I'm 33. Oh, that's 7 yeah, we're coming up on 8 years. Coming up on 8 years. Still, so much. God, it's a lot of time. So, yeah. So I never really talked much about that, you know? So my I and the hardest thing about it is for a long time, I was so scared to talk about shit. This is very uncomfortable for me. It's very uncomfortable for me. It's not very easy for me to sit here and express this to the world. And for a while, I was so scared to even talk about my dad, to be honest with you, because I'd always be like, well, what if he watches this? Because he stalks and watches all my shit, all the time. I don't talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. Right. So, like, for me, I'm like, if he is watching this, well, I don't care. But for a long time, I was scared. And it was because of the manipulation and the abuse that he's instilled, the fear that he instilled in me at such a young age to ever like speak out against him. I was so fearful for so long. And I still hold a bit of that narrative when speaking out about my story when it portrays to him. Because I'm like you, especially society, right? Like you're like, well, and dude, my family too, like some of my family, like they'll be like, well, he's still your father. And I'm like, I don't give right now at this point, I don't give a fuck if he's my dad. It's so funny because I have a tattoo tattooed on my side and it was like, blood makes you related, but loyalty makes you family. And I got that when I was like 18. I didn't even know what that truly meant to me. I just knew I was broken and that loyalty meant family to me and blood is what makes you related, but that means nothing. That's all I knew. And now that quote means so much to me. It means so much to me because it's so true, right? So like I'm at the point in my life now where I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. And I've also had people in my family, you know, to this day try and like talk me into trying to let my father back in or talk to him again because he misses me or he thinks so much of me or like whatever. And that's just it's not my problem. And they will say they're like, well, he's went through therapy and it's really hard to change when you're in your 60s. and it's hard for you to learn. That's not my problem. That motherfucker should have went through therapy a long time ago. He should have went through therapy when he was abusing me, when he was abusing my mom, when he was abusing other people in our family. That's when he should have went, but he didn't, right? He just continued to hurt people. He hurt people for a very, very, very long time, and probably he still was hurting people recently, I'm sure, right? And this person was like, "I accept that they're this way, and that's why, sometimes you just have to accept it." No, I don't. Here's a reminder to any of you listening right now, you don't have to accept anything. You can accept that that's who they are, but you don't have to accept that in the aspect of allowing them to be in your life when they don't cause you any form of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Safety? You don't owe them anything. You don't have to let anyone in your life. And I think I've said this before. If someone bugs you into the aspect of, like, where you're seemingly uncomfortable around them and they cause duress in your life, you do not owe them anything. They can choose to be that person, but I don't have to accept that you're that person. And I don't need to have you in my life. I don't have to be mean to you. I don't have to insult you. I don't have to really talk about, even though I'm talking about him right now. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to accept those things. And the way I'm talking about him, like, you'll see, like, I understand. And this is what makes it really hard for me. Really hard, especially through years of therapy. Like, I'm so emotionally intelligent. It's crazy. And I understand why people act the way they have. And it makes it hard for me to hate people. And I feel guilty of sharing things because I understand why people may have acted the way they acted. It comes from trauma. My dad had a terrible childhood. My dad didn't have a great supportive family. It was tough. There was a lot of fucked up shit that went on, right? That's where it stems from. It's just like, and again, like, it's a line of generational trauma, a line of generational abuse. Who is gonna break it? I broke it. I'm the black sheep of my family. I left. I left. I left and became something so different from anyone in my family. And for a while, a lot of my family talked shit about it. Like, my grandparents, for example, were just like, she left us and she left everything and she'll be back and she's gonna still amount to nothing. Like, nobody thought I would make it. Look at me now. Look at me now. You know? My mom was always a big supporter. She is probably my only biggest supporter that I've had since I left. And it was hard for her to watch me go and she was really scared, but she knew, like, deep down, like, my mom knew this is something she probably should have done at a young age. And I think she was like, she has to go. And I think she truly knew and believed that I would find it. I would find myself. And I know she's super proud of me, you know? And I still talk to my mom. So I would say, like, realistically, she is the only one I speak to a lot, very, very consecutively over time in my family. So, and she's hard on me. She was always really hard on me. But my mom did the absolute best she could with what she had and what she went through. Um, and I knew that it wasn't her job, especially as I got older, to help me be who I needed to be because she had to work through a lot of the things she went through. And there comes a point in your life where, like, you just have to have a realization in that aspect of things, and then you have to go put yourself first, right? So, like I was saying, I'm, like, tangenting through everything, but for good reason. So my dad was so crazy with, like, me being number one in gymnastics all the time. If I did anything wrong, even if I did bad in school, like, if I got a fucking C, like, if I got anything less than a B, I was severely punished. I was, abused physically. I was abused mentally, amongst everything, just degraded and put down for so long. Like, if I did not excel to the degree in which others believed that I should have excelled in, I was deemed as, like, a piece of shit, worthless, not good enough, never gonna fucking amount to anything, a waste of space. And I had to work through a long while of that narrative when you're a kid, and I know a lot of people can relate to this, and these are the things you're being hit and abused and then degraded just because you're doing your best and it's not what they want to see. Do you know how much that fucks you up? So, this went on for a long time, and then there was a lot of other things that I was around, like my father, and infidelity and, being threatened not to tell anyone that I was around that and knew what he was doing. And then obviously the truth always comes out and that's just how it goes. So I was around that. I had to physically watch my father choose another woman over us and my mom. And then aside from it all, that's crazy to witness. Once I was a teen, I separated. I was allowed to become more of myself, especially through the court system. I was allowed to make my own decisions. So I separated and really did not see him much at all. And then as I got older, I just completely cut it off, which was the best thing I could have ever done for myself. But as I cut it off, I had a lot of like abusive also relationships in high school that really affected me mentally, and then also always men. And I got to a point where in college, like high school, end of high school and college, where I refused to really date anyone. And it was for a good few years. A good few years. But in those few years, I drank heavily, which I made a post about that also on my Instagram. Drank heavily. And I did, I smoked a lot of weed and like shit like that. But like someone commented on this when I talked about this the other day and they're like, druggy. And I was like, damn, like, guys, I barely do I don't do anything anymore. I have a drink after I compete sometimes because I love a margarita. That's about it. And it's sometimes. Like, I maybe have a drink at this point in my life 2 to 4 times a year. Okay. So, like, this guy's like, druggy. I was like, Jesus Christ. That's hilarious. But, anyways. So, like, that was another stage of abuse, and I talked about that, but I, like, abused myself in that aspect because I was drowning myself from trying to face anything that I went through. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand the 15, 16, 17 years of, like, neglect, abuse, degrading, I was so fucked up. I was so fucked up. I didn't even know what was up, what was down, what was left, what was right. I did not know anything. I just wanted to stop. My brain couldn't stop. Everything just kept happening. It was so bad, and I just wanted everything to stop. So I drank heavily every day. Every day. And I was with a group of other people, my friends, who were also broken, who also drank heavily every day. Like calls to like. And I love those people. And there's my one friend I actually still talk to, and she's doing really great for herself too. So it's nice. We've like reconnected later on in life, and I'm like, okay, girl, But there came a point after, I was like 21 and a half, 22. And I was like, I woke up one day and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? What the actual fuck am I doing with myself? Like, I was always an athlete. I was always so good at everything I really was great. Like, I have the potential to be great. I'm intelligent. I'm smart. I know I am. What am I doing? Right? I gained a bunch of weight. I was like, oh, so I stopped talking to everyone I hung out with. I went to the gym. I asked my cousin to train me. He did, taught me, and there started my journey as a nutritionist and a personal trainer, strength and conditioning, right? And then I found CrossFit. So I talked about this a lot already in my other story, but throughout CrossFit, I met this guy and I thought he was someone that he wasn't. And he lived about 90 minutes, almost 2 hours away from my hometown. And when the opportunity arose that I felt like I really just needed to get out, I was still struggling, right? I was in CrossFit, but I was still struggling mentally with all of my trauma and everything. And I just felt like I couldn't breathe in my hometown because everything reminded me of things I went through and all of that stuff. And you know, I, I took he wanted me to move in and I took it up. I was like, yes. After only knowing him for like 8-ish months, dating him. And he moved away. So, like, when I saw him, it was only on the weekends. So, what, you see this person for 1 to 2 days, and do you really know them? No. No. I look back and I'm like, what the fuck, Rachel? But I get it. And I like forgive my younger self. I just want to escape. I always thought that something was going to be better. This has to be better. This has to be better. Within a few months, he started showing signs of aggression. And I was like almost in denial. I wasn't, not almost. Fuck that. I was in denial. I was like, this is not happening. And this is big because this is a lot. This is what a lot of women need to understand, that we say they didn't mean it. Well, they were having a bad day, or maybe this is we try to make excuses. Like, women try to see the best in everyone, and especially someone that we maybe care for, right? And it's important. It's so important to go back to take yourself and separate yourself from the emotional aspect of things, right? And I talked about this in journaling. The detached standpoint of the situation. It's so important to detach yourself from the situation and look at it from the outside looking in and be like, no. Like, what would I tell my friend? Always. It's always what you have to say. What would I tell my friend in this situation? You can't be like, oh, but it's different because no. What would you tell your friend? What would you tell your sister, your brother? What would you tell someone you care deeply for? What would you tell them? Right? That's like what you have to think about. I think about that now in the aspect of like the family, like my found family, right? That I have here. I have Danny and Willis and their kids, and they're like my brother and sister, and I feel like they're my nephews, right? And I'm very, very close to them. And I always like now, like as I go through in life, like these two young boys, I'm like, what would I tell them? If I was going through something, what would I say to them? That is how I try to go through any situation that I move forward with in my life now. Like if they were in that situation with like a woman or whatever as they grow older, right? Like let's say like this is like 10 years from now and I'm and Auntie Rachel's sitting at the table and they're like devastated. What would I tell them? Right? So like I try and put myself in that detached or like that aspect of things. And that's how you should try and view things too, because you should love yourself enough. You should love yourself just as much as you love the people around you, if not more. You should love yourself more. You should always want so much more for yourself. So he started showing me signs of aggression. It started small with like screaming and raising his voice. And I'm like, "Ugh." And that just like cut me off. I was like, ooh, like, and I just turtle up and like leave and like go to work, whatever. And I was like working 10-hour days, training. I would wake up in the morning at 8 a.m., eat my breakfast, go to the gym from like 9 till like 12:30, and then I would work from like 1 till like 9 at night as a waitress. I was just keeping myself busy, keeping myself busy, keeping myself busy. Maybe if I'm not home, he won't hit me. Maybe if I'm not home, this won't happen. Maybe if I just keep being busy, maybe I just keep hanging out with people, it won't be as bad. No, it was bad, right? So then I remember the next time he like threw a glass bottle, like a salad dressing bottle, like at my head, and it just missed me. I like cut the side of my face a little bit when it smashed off the wall. And I was like so scared. And and every time it was like it would happen and then he'd be so sorry. I'd have flowers, I'd have this. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for doing that to you. Then I was scared. Then I'm like, fuck, I'm like 2 hours away from home. How do I leave? I have a job here. I don't have a job at home. I have no money. What do I do? Then I felt stuck. And this is the scariest thing. And this is women who have kids who are with abusive husbands who feel stuck. They have nowhere to go. They have no other family. I have no family, no support, nobody to help me. I have nothing. I'm on my own. I'm on my own. I had one friend who really knew and was like, dude, she knew more towards the end, right? So like then it came to like pushing me and laughing. Then it came to like slamming me into walls. Then it came to like hitting me. Then it came like I remember one time this motherfucker ripped a door off the hinges. I was never so mortified in my life because I'm like, how strong can you be in a rageful fit to rip the door off of the hinges? And it would always be because he would start an argument with me and I'd stick up for myself. I always stick up for myself. And I would just be like, this isn't fair. Like, why are you can't talk back. And again, this goes back to it's like the cycle, man, because my dad was the same way. My grandfather was the same way. Like everything was like in like all the men in like in my family growing up were like, women stay silent. Do what you're told. Ripped the fucking hinges off a door and threw the goddamn door at me. Like, and then it just got worse. And then the hitting and everything like that. And then like one day I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die here. This is like, what am I doing? Why did I stay so long? So I planned my escape, didn't go well. He caught on to me leaving and It was bad. He choked me unconscious, smashed my head off a wall. Thank God the neighbors were hearing like screaming, the things breaking. They called the cops. The cops showed up. The cops let me leave. Let me grab my shit. My mom came. One of my best friends came at the time. I had 3 cars to fill my shit, and I packed my shit, whatever I can pack my shit in, and I left. And I think I talked about this a little bit too at some point. I have said small spits and with bits and pieces of like, what I went through, but like I left, I had to quit my job cold turkey. I quit everything. I only had like $100 to my name because I remember we had to go to the CrossFit games because he was coaching one of the kids at like our gym and was so mad that I didn't have a lot of money to go, but wanted me to go. So I gave him everything I possibly had, which was like $300. So I had nothing. This was literally like 3 days after I got back because a lot of bad shit happened when we were there too. I remember something happened in the hotel. He was like threatening to fuck me up. I like ran out. I was like so scared, like seeing her, how am I gonna get home? I have to fly home. Like, do I get a new plane ticket? Like, who do I call? Dude, it was so scary. And it was like I was just like in survival mode, I've went through this so much in my life. But like what do I do? So I had no money, and I moved home. And then I was like, it was bad, A lot of people, like, he lied a lot to people. He tried recovering his name. Our friend group was like kind of the same with like the gym I was at. He told people like I was crazy. I would hit him first and like all this shit. People believed him. A lot of people believed him. A lot of people didn't believe him. I mean, when I came back, like I had bruises all over my neck. I was fucked up like crazy. Crazy. And like to those people who knew what I went through and didn't fucking support me, fuck you. That's all I have to say. Who knew what I went through, who knew that a woman was being abused and chose to believe him because it was easier to believe your bro, because it was easier to not go against him than it was to stand up for what's right. Fuck you. And that's what's wrong with the world. Today, people still like abuse doesn't go away. Abuse is everywhere. There are men being abused, there are women being abused. Like it's not just women, but are women mostly the people who are abused by men and a superior? Yeah, sorry. That's just how it is. That's how the stats fall. So like if you see someone who's struggling, if you even for a second think that something is wrong, you need to pay attention to ask questions. The odds are that person is going to be scared to tell you. It's taken me 33 years to share my story. People are scared to share their story. There's a lot of things I won't share that I went through yet. I'm not ready. But these few things, I can talk about these things. And I want to because I want to be able to, I want a woman to watch this who maybe is in the same situation and be like, fuck, I can do it. I can leave. Leave. You'll figure it out. You will figure it out. There's support lines. There's like different types of housing you can look into. If you feel lost, like I know it's so hard, but like you have to leave because you don't know, like the next day it could be your last day. Abuse is it's so scary and it's so scary for women to feel stuck. But like you can do it, you can leave. But again, like if you suspect anything, please like help that person. Your help can be, you've no idea how much just a little bit of care and understanding and belief in what that person is telling you can do to help that individual. We need more of that. And that's why like I do what I do. I help so many people change their lives. I'm very hyper aware of like if things are going on. I'm very hyper aware of my surroundings. I'm very hyper aware of everything because I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to miss anything for my own well-being and for others. So it's hard. And I find myself sometimes, like I said, I give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt. I give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt. I let people cross boundaries because I just want to help people. But I've also gotten to a place where I also am like, no, enough is enough. I will not accept that, you know? There's a degree. There's a degree. That line is thin. It's very thin. And when someone crosses that line, it's very important to love yourself more and to take steps to get out of that because what they're doing, like how they're projecting onto you, that has everything to do with them and has nothing to do with you. Right. And yes, maybe they've gone through a lot of trauma too, and they've been through a lot of in life. And I've said this time and time again in podcasts, and I won't stop saying it. I won't stop saying it to friends. I say this to friends all the time. I say this to people all the time. We always have a choice. We always have a choice in how we treat people. We need to be empathetic and how other people feel. We can't be so self centered in terms of our trauma that we don't give a shit how we're hurting other people. Because sometimes people, they'll be so hurt from their trauma in life, they'll feel so hurt that when they project their trauma onto others, they don't care because they're just getting it out and they're like, oh, I deserve to feel this way. I deserve to get it. No. And some people don't, some people are just fucked up. Some people are just fucking crazy. My ex was crazy. Like, there was no, I don't think he was just like that, you know? So, like, again, like, you can be manipulated in the aspect of not thinking you're abused. People can manipulate, be narcissistic in the aspect of not thinking that they're abusing you and make you feel like you're not being abused and you're being crazy. You're not. You have to listen to your gut. You know more than anything. You are intuitive, you are strong, you are powerful. You know what is best for you. You need to get to a space, you need to ask for help, you need to get one within yourself, especially if you're being manipulated, and like come back to yourself. Detach, detach. This is why, like, not being so stuck on your phone, not trying to numb yourself with alcohol and drugs, ahem, myself. Not trying to drown yourself so much in fitness, ahem, myself. I love fitness. Fitness is my form of escape, but I've learned now how to do it in a positive aspect, in a positive manner, because I know how to sit with myself and I know how to connect with myself and I know how to know what is going on. Right. So if you ever, like, this is for anyone, if you feel lost, if you feel stuck, if you feel like, am I being manipulated or abused or emotionally abused, reach out to me. I will talk to you. You're safe. This is a safe space. Always, I say that all the time. This is a safe space. You can always reach out and talk to me, and I will help you, and I will listen to you. I will listen to you amongst anything. The world needs more people to just be there. Listen, be understanding, not judge, and help guide. The world needs more of that. So I don't know. I guess that's all I want to say today. Happy 10th episode. Thanks for listening to my story. I don't ever want anyone to feel bad for me because I am who I am and I'm in this chair and I'm doing these things because I made it through what I went through and now I get to share and help others. And that is so important to me to be able to help others. And I am so fucking proud of myself every day. I woke up this morning and like even making these reels these past like few days, I'm like, damn, I am fucking proud of myself. And I'm going to keep working so I keep being more proud of myself. And I just want to keep helping people. So that's all I wanted to say, to end this out a little bit. So, if you like this, like it, subscribe. You're going to have a lot more stuff like this. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad I'm here and I can share my story and I can share some truth and I can speak out against abuse and against, and for women. I'm glad I'm here and I'm glad I can do that. So, let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you have a great weekend and I'll see you here next week.